You've been arranging tracks wrong all the time since you've started producing music. And in this video, we're going to talk about how most logical and intuitive way of arranging tracks, how most music producers do it, is actually keeping you stuck in the loop, wasting hours and still not finishing your tracks. And I'm going to teach you a method that professional music producers use to fully arrange their tracks in 2-3 hours. Let's get started with the video. Okay, so let's talk about the big problem why so many people are struggling with arrangement, with writer's block, with finishing tracks, and so on. This is how most people arrange music. So they make an 8-bar loop, they start arranging, they get stuck, they give up on the track, they get frustrated, start a new one, and repeat the cycle. Let me ask you this: what is easier to arrange, this loop Yes, it's a cool loop, but it's very simple and it's just 8 bars. That's it. That's all the context, all I have for the idea of this track. Or would it be easier to arrange when I already have all the main sections for my track? Think about it. So instead of telling a story with your track, you'll be focusing on trying to add unnecessary micro details to the track that won't make a difference when you play it in the clip. Let's be real, if you're trying to turn an 8-bar loop into a full track, you haven't even put the effort into creating a good song. So don't be lazy, work on your ideas, put a little bit more time up front, and then it will be a lot easier for you to finish your arrangements. So for example, instead of expanding the track from left to right, working on the big picture, then you're going to be trying to duplicate sounds, like add those unnecessary ear candy and all that stuff, and you can just avoid that by creating longer loops. So let's talk about why you should never arrange a track if you only have an 8-bar loop. It's too short. You'll need to duplicate it 4 times to get 1 minute of the track. If we jump back to Ableton, let's pretend that this is all I have for my track. This is the whole idea. Now I duplicate it 4 times and this is 1 minute. But the problem with that, it's going to be super boring and super repetitive. So the shorter is the loop, the harder it is to make it sound interesting, to tell some sort of a story with the track. It's just going to be like same thing over and over again, and this is not cool. A 5-minute track made up of 8-bar loops will sound boring and repetitive, and a lot of you, I'm sure, can relate when you are trying to make this small thing into a long track, and it's just so much friction, it's so complicated, it's so hard to arrange a track. And here's the thing, you will spend 10x time and effort trying to make a track sound interesting. It's like trying to tell an interesting story when you only scripted one scene of the movie. So here is the big idea, and I'm going to demonstrate it. Try creating longer loops. It's much easier to arrange with 16-bar loops because it's 30 seconds and I can duplicate it 2 times. It's already 1 minute. And it's not that many times that I need to duplicate it to make a full track, which sounds more interesting, it's more cohesive as well, and so on and so on. So if you look at this arrangement, I'm going to play you the track. You can see how much stuff it is happening here, right? And if we go to Ableton, I'm now going to play it for you. So I want you to listen to different motifs here, right? So this is the first motif, this is the second one, third one, and the fourth one. And this is 1 minute, almost like 2 minutes of unique track. Check it out. And now it will illustrate to you how important it is to make longer and more interesting loops. Then we transition into motif number 2. And then we transition into motif number 3. And then we are transitioning back to the main theme, how I started the track. Look, the thing about this is you don't always have to make complex tracks like I've just shown you. I'll show you another example, but this is just like a fun track, a fun idea, which I really, really liked. So you can see how much more interesting, more deep this sounds, just like something unique. So you need to understand how simple or how complex your track should be, because if we take this idea, we can, for example, play from here. I really, really like it, and it doesn't have to be super complicated, but it still needs to have some sort of variation. I can show you here on this main drop. And even this is already very different. So even if the track is very minimal and very simple, you can still create those micro variations inside your arrangement. It's not hard, and I'll show you how to do it. We also need to cover a very important point here. Stop overcomplicating. 5 elements you need for a good track. All you really need is kick, bass, leads, vocals, drums, and FX. And those sounds should be really, really good, really high quality, like groovy, danceable, catchy. Because a lot of the times what is happening, and I was guilty of that as well, I was like, if I made a track like this in the past, I would instantly feel like, oh, it's not enough. I need to add extra layers, add some effects, add stuff, like just more stuff. But in reality, in the club, this will sound amazing. You don't need more than what we have right now. Right, so do you really feel like you need more in the club? No, that's already good. So now let's talk about the main concept for this video. Start arranging your tracks like pro producers. And it took me like 9 years to understand this, because I was arranging like from left to right, and this is absolutely wrong. It is why you're struggling with arrangement, because when you're just trying to arrange from left to right, it's just not very logical. You lack context for the whole song, and it's just like really hard to connect all the sections. So now let me show you this method that I'm using right now. I'm teaching that in my coaching sessions with my clients as well. So let's discuss. So you want to create all the main parts of the track before you start arranging. So make a loop for the main drop, make a loop for the second drop, could be like, again, variation or the climax of the track. Make a loop for the minimal drop, so beginning, and make a loop for the breakdown. So I want you to listen to the reference track, and I pretty much just copy it in terms of the structure to illustrate the concept. So this is the minimal drop. So this is just the kick and the bass, if you listen here. So even though that this is technically an 8-bar loop, just by adding a vocal, we are now making it into a 16-bar loop. So by taking stuff out like this, by adding, by changing a little bit in terms of the rhythm of the melody, you can make an 8-bar loop into a 16-bar loop. Now let's listen to the main drop in the reference. And again, I just copied the structure. So listen to this. So this is 8 bars, and then the second one is also 8 bars, but he's changing the rhythm of the melody, even though he's using the same sound. Now it is not 8 bars, it is 16 bars. So again, more variation, more interesting. I did the same thing for my track. And then I changed the rhythm a little bit. I would put a different sound, but oh, actually I did. right? So now we have 30 seconds and 30 seconds. This is already 1 minute of like unique sound for the track. And then how I like doing it now, I just download the reference, I put it into my track, and then I just like analyze the main sections, what is happening in the drop, in the intro. I first make those big sections for the track, and then I connect everything. And even for myself, it has been a game changer. And then let's go to the final part of the track in the reference. So if you listen to this section, he has 2 vocals. I also wanted to put a vocal to illustrate the concept. So it is just like 2 sounds, and that's all the difference between the main drop here and the main drop here. Not a lot of difference. Listen to this. And then I did the same thing for my track. I put some percussions. And then the cool down section. So this is how you can start finishing your arrangements in 2-3 hours, maybe even faster. Again, depends on your current skill level. If you liked this video and if you want to work with me on your music production skills, achieve pro sound, start releasing music, whatever you need help with, check the links down below. I offer coaching, and I see you guys in the next video. Ciao.